Wonderful vodcast listeners, we were here a year ago as Steve was opening something rather remarkable involving Bob Dylan. Less than 1 year later, we're back there, and Steve has a new box that we're going to talk about. So Steve, what has just arrived?
Well, it's the companion volume really to the bootleg series which we bought a year ago when we were living in a new state in Bathurst in New South Wales. We're now in Adelaide in South Australia, and this year's purchase is basically 36 CDs of Bob Dylan and the band, as they eventually became, in 1966, basically from February 1966 to May of 1966. And they're the legendary live concert recordings, including the Judas concert at Manchester Free Trade Hall in May 1966. But they're a companion volume because the bootleg series that you bought me last year actually had all the sounds from the studio relating to 3 classic albums of Dylan in 1965-66. And basically he took those on tour in 1965 and 66, and the 66 recordings, all of the recordings that were ever made in the live concerts, are actually in this box, which is amazing.
So this is exciting, Judas. Steve, this is exciting because this is going to be, you're opening this box in real time. But as our regular viewers note, of course, last year we had a bit of a problem with scissors with the last box. So I have done the, shall I say, preliminary cut to this box. Steve, commence opening.
And I have been listening to last year's box set for the whole of the last 12 months. I thought I would listen for about 3 weeks, but actually I've been listening on CD.
Yes, I haven't seen him much, and housework has been neglected. Stephen, please continue. Ooh. Right, so what have we got?
We've got a box which I think is of the CDs.
Right.
And I think there are booklets in the box.
Right, so there we go. So, do you want to just get rid of this, throw that box away? That's a good boy. Right, yep.
So this is the box of CDs, and it's official release.
Oh, that's crucial.
It's an official release of 36 CDs of all the live recordings made of the famous Dylan concerts in the US, Australia, Europe, and particularly the Manchester Free Trade Hall Judas concert.
Right, Judas. So it's CDs, Steve. So
Yes.
so what? How is this different? Is there, like last year, a deluxe edition, a blah 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 edition?
I don't know whether there is. I think this is the edition.
This is the edition. So let's talk through the edition. So what are we looking at here? We've got very, very thin CDs.
Yes,
so they are
CDs.
CDs. So
yes.
they are CDs.
Which I will actually upload into my...
Yes, of course you will.
iPod Touch.
Yes, that's great, because I bought you one of those this year. You're a lucky boy. Now, Steve, what exactly is on these? Just so to clarify for viewers, what are we looking at here, dude?
Well, the 36th one, for example, which I've just picked up,
yes,
is the concert in Stockholm, 29th of April 1966, and it's the whole of the concert.
Wow.
So, although there are actually some aspects of it are fragments, but it's the acoustic set
yes,
he did on his own, and then the electric set, which is basically with the members of the band plus Mickey Jones.
Right, so you've said there are 36 CDs. Please do not tell me that they are 36 CDs of the same set, just moved through different locations.
I'm afraid that probably is true.
Wow.
It did vary a little bit, but
boy.
They are basically 36.
So once more, I'll ask
Sample.
the obvious question that every person on this planet is asking you, Steve.
Yes.
Why would anybody, don't deal with the book, why would anybody want, yes, that's great, there's a book, that's great. Why would anybody want 36 versions of the same set on the same tour?
Because obsessive Bob Dylan fans want everything. They're completists like me.
Right.
But also, I think, I actually, as a result of the last year's purchase, which I've just finished listening to, I did actually write a piece on Bob Dylan and modernism and his pop art of 1965-66 for your book, What Would Brian Eno Do?
Woo!
And it's interesting that I can now add something else on that piece from these recordings. So it does have an academic purpose as well.
Look, it does, and thank you very much to our tax consultant for that point. But Steve, could I ask the obvious point, why would we need this? So yes, you're a big Bob Dylan fan, I like Bob too, but why does this exist? Think about capitalism. Why does that exist? What's happening that people want that? That is a consumable good. Have you thought that through?
Yes, to some extent, but I think it does still stand as a historic monument. I mean, it's commodified, obviously, and really these should have been. I mean, they were mostly bootlegged, from the late 1960s onwards, and for a long time you could also get soundtracks from these concerts on YouTube or whatever. But actually, this is the complete set, and you can actually trace what was a classic part of popular culture, because on top of the studio recordings and the studio outtakes, which is really what last year's bootleg series was about, you can actually hear for the first time the complete live recordings, and they were majestic in a lot of ways. They did make a lot of difference to the development of popular music, popular culture.
So it is remarkable because in historical terms you're actually hearing the raw data. So
Yes.
as an historian,
Yes.
and remember I'm the historian in this relationship, just to remind you of that,
Yes.
as an historian that's terrific, but obviously the problem is these are very expensive box sets to buy, and so they are heavily capitalised on something that's pretty well always existed as a bootleg in some form. Is that fair enough?
Yes, particularly what was originally known as the Manchester Royal Albert Hall concert, which was actually at the Manchester Free Trade Hall, which was the Judas concert. But not every one of these has been heard before by fans. So.
And we should do an enormous shout out to CP Lee, of course.
We should, yeah.
And why do we need to do a shout out to CP, who of course was your former PhD student?
Yes, and a lot of the work on the Manchester Free Trade Hall concert, the Judas concert, was actually part of Chris's PhD, but he became an authority on that. He was there, he actually went, and he wrote 2 books on that, particularly like the Night, which was about the Manchester Free Trade Hall concert. And people like Clinton Hayling, who's another Bob Dylan authority, who's just written a book called Judas, which is almost a companion book to these 36 CDs. So there's a lot of research work gone into this from a lot of really good people around the world.
So Steve, I haven't seen you much in the last year. We've moved states, we've moved universities, and you've basically focused on what you opened a year ago.
Yes.
Am I going to lose you for another year as you go through these?
I would say it's going to be longer.
You'd say it's going to be longer. Now, why, considering it's the same concert 36 times, why is this going to be longer?
Because there's the slither of difference between each concert.
I'm losing the will to live. Steve, happy Christmas. Enjoy. Viewers, this is going to be a tough 12 months, eh?
See you in 2 years.